Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. This is from J-Rock. That Team Canada chant is actually stolen from an old Manchester United chant they used to sing for Eric Cantona. Do you remember him at all?
I don't.
Okay, so one of the great players in Man U history. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation right. But what I remember him for more than anything, and I don't know if we can come up with footage of this, Ryan. Pretty infamous or famous moment, but he drop kicked a fan in row one during a game. It must have been on opposition grounds.
Bruce Lee style kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I think he got suspended. So maybe we can dig that up. Apparently, I thought it was a play on the old Habs on the Warpath chant, but apparently not.
Aren't all soccer chants ripped off from some club fan base?
Well, they had to start somewhere.
That's
though,
but that's what I mean. So they're all rip-offs.
Well, no, they're not. Somebody had it originally,
right?
So not all rip-offs.
Okay, everyone but
or it's
the
an
original
old song or whatever the case may be, and they
exactly.
There's a play on it.
Yeah.
All right. You have to see this footage. It's amazing. We'll see if we can dig it up as we bring in.
I just found a YouTube video that says Eric Cantona Kung Fu Kick.
Okay.
So I'll check that out.
Play it.
Well, no, I got to set it up.
Jeff Paterson would not treat his fans that way.
No.
He joins us from Sekeres and Price,
Good guy.
Rink podcast. Canada versus Belgium. The Canucks in Colorado. How are you, Jeff?
I'm good. And I like to think of myself as a man with a sense of occasion. And as you can see, I wore my best gray sweatshirt on the day that Canada is going to be playing. And I was worried. And then I see two guys there hosting the show. You guys, Dolly's got gray going, Donnie in black. So although whoever knows what color Canada is going to wear anymore on international stages.
That's it.
Sport, right? Because you think of red and white, but we wear black so often anyhow. So, maybe, Donnie, you've got it right today.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens at 11 a.m. And they had a lot of success with those black uniforms. A lot of people complain, like, come on, red and white. But if you're winning, you don't change things. Just your sense of excitement going into this World Cup, Jeff, before we talk about the Canucks.
Yeah, I'm like everybody. I think, I was around. I was a teenager back in '86 in Mexico, and I have vague recollections, but I played soccer growing up, but I don't think then that the excitement level, even as we qualified, is where it is now. And I just think the game has grown in this country. We have players and stars to latch onto. We have one of the real stars of soccer or football in the world in Alphonso Davies, and the fact that he's healthy and he's going to play, that's got to get you revved up as well. So, yeah, I'm like most today. I'm not showing it with my gray sweatshirt, but I'm excited that Canada is about to take the pitch in a World Cup. And I have some expectations. I guess last time in Mexico, there weren't any, and obviously they didn't score a goal. They didn't win a game. There's enough offense here. I think that they should be competitive. I'm not going to make any grand proclamations that they're going to knock off Belgium or Croatia, but I have to think that we've come this far as a soccer nation that we should be able to put a ball in the back of the net at the very least on the biggest stage.
Yeah. Okay, Canucks in Colorado tonight, Jeff. They're taking on the defending Stanley Cup champions. They're 11-5-1. They've won 3 straight games. I know they have some injuries due to the Avs, but they're doing just fine. Any chance, and Bruce Boudreau talked about this a bit, he hinted at this yesterday, any chance that this is just what the doctor ordered, playing a powerful team like this on the road tonight?
I liked his answer. What did he say? He wished they were playing a junior team. It doesn't quite work that way, Bruce. Look, there's a chance. There's always a chance. The Canucks, remember last year down the stretch, and we kind of thought that they were running out of runway, and they went into Denver, and one of their best wins under Bruce Boudreau was against the Colorado Avalanche. They played remarkably well, and they held them in check, and I think 3-1 was the final score. So it can be done. Now, that team was playing a whole lot better under the head coach than this one is. My concern, Donnie, is that Colorado's got the best power play in the National Hockey League, and we know the Canucks and the penalty kill, although That said, the Canucks have gone 3 straight without giving up a penalty kill goal, so maybe they have turned a corner, but they're going to be put to the test. This Avs team isn't as formidable as the one that hoisted the trophy last summer. Kadri's gone, Burakovsky's gone. They're dealing with injuries, Nichushkin, Bowen Byram, but they still have the highest of high-end talent in Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen right there running shotgun with him, and of course, Cale Makar on the back end. I think Makar has scored in back-to-back games in 4 of the last 5, so he's such a threat and such a danger. But you do hope, I guess, if you're Bruce Boudreau, that this team, you look across and you see that they're the defending champs and that it focuses this club's attention. I just wonder, and we saw it again the other night, Monday against Vegas, how are the Canucks going to defend? If Nathan McKinnon turns up the heat, what do the Canucks do in the way of a response? And right now, far too often this season, they've kind of rolled over and wilted. You want to believe that they can raise their game and elevate and be ready for a challenge, but proof will be in the pudding tonight when they step on the ice at Ball Arena.
Jeff, stay out of the box tonight. Colorado, the number 1 power play in the NHL. If the Canucks are going to have a march parade to the box, they're going to be in trouble tonight. Number 1. But hey, here's the thing for you. The Canucks power play, not far behind. It's 5th best in the NHL. So I think both teams are struggling on the PK, but yet we got 2 top 5 power plays tonight.
Yeah, and in fact, the Canucks, by the numbers, the Canucks have only scored 1 fewer power play goal than the Colorado Avalanche this year. It's just the Avs have had fewer opportunities, so their percentage is better. But you're right. Both of these teams can strike with the man advantage. That's been a Canucks weapon. And yet, again, I go back to the Vegas game the other night. There was 1 power play each way, and Vegas did a nice job. They didn't give the Canucks that opportunity to sort of play to their strengths. We'll see if Colorado can be a disciplined bunch and if this is a game that's played at special teams, because the Canucks scored 4 even-strength goals the other night. That's something that they haven't done a lot of throughout this season. Again, that should have been enough. It should have meant something, but when you give up 5 the other way, obviously you leave the building disappointed, and that's happened far too often with just 6 wins in 19 games. So I would expect that there will be a few more power plays. It was a little bit of a surprise to see just 1 each way the other day against Vegas. I would expect that there'll be some power plays, so the Canucks penalty kill is going to be put to the test, but as you said, Rick, maybe it is an opportunity for the Canucks power play to leave its stamp on a hockey game like this one tonight.
Jeff, this team can score. Look at Quinn Hughes, tied with Erik Karlsson most assists in the NHL for defensemen. Besser, 7-game point streak. Miller, 5-game point streak. Paterson, 14 points, 10 games. Horvat, 15 goals, second in the NHL. But they can't defend. Can you think of a hockey team that scores so much, but they can't defend in Vancouver? I can't think of a team like this before.
Well, you'd probably have to go back to the 80s when a lot of teams couldn't defend and couldn't get saves. But in the modern era here, it is so baffling, guys, that this team does enough good things to get these multi-goal leads. Like, it's not easy to get in front. And JT Miller even said yesterday after practice, it's not easy to get a lead repeatedly in the National Hockey League. And this team has done enough good in the early going. The problem is that scoring's the fun part, right? Like, it's not easy to score, but it's fun. That's where the glory comes. It's hard to defend. Like, you have to make a commitment. And quite frankly, not enough guys are doing that. And we saw that way too often in the third period. Like, I was just shocked at how the Canucks stood around and watched and welcomed Vegas to the front of the net. And that was the big disappointment for me. Earlier in the season, it was a lot of those odd man rushes. It was cross-seam passes. The Canucks have done a better job of taking some of those away. But at the end of the day, hit somebody. Invest in defense. And I know a lot of people that don't believe that Bruce Boudreau is the problem. And I've been supportive of Bruce to this point. I enjoy my dealings with the man. He's fun to be around, although not as much fun this year for obvious reasons as last year. But part of it is, he continues to roll out the same guys and expect a different result. And it's pretty clear by now that JT Miller, while he does a lot of good at the offensive end, he's not one of their better defending players. And for Miller to keep getting put out in those situations, he's on the ice for 4 of the 5 goals against the other night. I heard Bruce yesterday, somebody asked, are you ready to give Elias Pettersson more of the matchup role against a Nathan McKinnon tonight or against the Eichel line in the rematch on Saturday? And Bruce said, no, not yet. He's not particularly good on faceoffs. You know what? I think I'd take the trade-off now of Elias Pettersson losing the odd draw, but working his butt off to go get the puck back and move to the attack and get it out of the defensive end instead of maybe winning a faceoff, but then turning it over and running around in your own zone. So, there's a lot of heat on the defenseman. Obviously, it's been a struggle for OEL, and Riley Stillman continues to play for some reason, and he hasn't been particularly good for this group. But I do think Bruce's frustration the other night, and I was in his scrum post game, I really sensed that his frustration was with his forward group and not enough guys doing enough to come back to help the defensemen. Obviously, it's not just the two defensemen, it's team defense. And it was shocking how the Canucks just stood around and let the Vegas Golden Knights get to that area of the ice where goals were scored. And the Pietrangelo goal, Rick, you mentioned Brock Besser, and I know that he scored twice against LA the other night, and he's on this point streak. His season is so hard to figure out because the points have been there. He hasn't been dominant, and yet defensively, there are all sorts of holes in his game. And the game winner the other night, I mean, that's inexcusable at the NHL level just to let Pietrangelo walk right past you and put the puck in. So it just, to me, it feels like these are all elite level athletes. They got to the National Hockey League. I have to believe that there's more to give. It's a flawed roster. I get that. I'm not here to tell you that this team should be a Stanley Cup contender. But I just think if they dug in a little bit and gave a damn on the defensive side of the puck, that some of these leads they would be able to maintain and ultimately get them across the finish line.
Jeff, it doesn't matter what color you wear. You're looking good, buddy.
Always.
Thanks for joining us today, my friend.
Well, let's hope Canada looks good on the field against Belgium.
Yep. You bet. Jeff, thanks for this. Appreciate it. Canucks in Colorado tonight.